Respectfully, to the President of the United States, specifically as it pertains to that statement, you're full of it.
You, Joe Biden.
You, Joe Biden? Megyn Kelly, who do you think you are? Me?
Is this what we had to look forward to? Is this what it's going to be? You know, after the election, there were all these conversations about how the media failed.
Okay, this is as broad as a pardon can possibly be. Ordinarily, a pardon will specify a certain case, and that happened here. It says, I hereby pardon Hunter Biden on the gun case in Delaware and on the tax case in California. But what's different about this one is it also says this is a full and unconditional pardon for all conduct going back to January 1 of 2014, which means Hunter Biden cannot be federally prosecuted for anything going back to 2014 and really before then, because before then is going to be precluded by the statute of limitations. And as you said before, the only historical precedent, the best historical precedent for this is the pardon of Richard Nixon by Gerald Ford, which has similar language that says full and unconditional pardon. So Joe Biden has pushed to the absolute outer limits of the breadth of the pardon power here.
The media failed, right? The media failed. The media and their, both sidesism and their faux, equating, the left and the right. And, it was all these conversations about that.
First, let's give you a bit of a fact board on some of the pardons. Okay, so 73 pardons and then commuted the sentences of 70 others.
Then Hunter Biden happens. And you have people on the Democratic side of the aisle, or at least talking heads who claim to be progressive or left-leaning or center-left, that will tell you that this was a mistake and a blunder on behalf of Biden, because what a gift for Trump. He's going to use this, and it's going to be such a talking point for MAGA. He now has the opening he needs in order to pardon.
We're going to get started in the nation's capital, where President Joe Biden reversed course when it comes to his son, Hunter Biden. The president issued a full and unconditional pardon for Hunter, who faced sentencing this month for federal tax and gun convictions. The pardon means Hunter Biden won't be sentenced for his crimes, and it also eliminates any chance that he'll be sent to prison. In fact, the pardon explicitly grants clemency for the tax and gun offenses from his existing cases, plus any potential federal crimes that Hunter Biden may have committed dating as far back from January 1st, 2014 through December 1st, 2024, which was just a day ago. The time frame is specific because it covers Hunter's work overseas with Ukraine, China, and other foreign business dealings, okay? Here's a part of President Biden's statement in regards to the move. Quote, "Today, I signed a pardon for my son, Hunter. From the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision making, and I kept my word, even as I have watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Without aggravating factors like use in a crime, multiple purchases, or buying a weapon as a straw purchaser, people are almost never brought to trial on felony charges solely for how they filled out a gun form. Those who were late paying their taxes because of serious addictions, but paid them back subsequently with interest and penalties, are typically given non-criminal resolutions. It is clear that Hunter was treated differently. No reasonable person who looks at the facts of Hunter's cases can reach any other conclusion than Hunter was singled out only because he is my son, and that is wrong. There has been an effort to break Hunter, who has been 5.5 years sober, even in the face of unrelenting attacks and selective prosecution. In trying to break Hunter, they've tried to break me. And there's no reason to believe it will stop here. Enough is enough, end quote. Now, Biden's opponents, which include President-elect Donald Trump, have repeatedly said Hunter should be prosecuted for his activities in Ukraine and elsewhere. Respectfully, to the President of the United States, specifically as it pertains to that statement, you're full of it. I'm going to look right here over the national airwaves and look the President of the United States in the face and saying you're full of it.
You know, I think I've got mixed views about it, frankly. I think that, there is concern that the president legitimately had that the Trump administration and, all this, the retribution tour stuff with respect to the Department of Justice and how he plans to use it against his enemies. I think there's a legitimate concern about what that could lead to. And I think that's part of why the president put in a 10-year stretch for the pardon term, because that should protect him against anything really up to statute of limitations, basically, for most offenses. On the other hand, though, I got to say that even though I don't think Hunter Biden would have been prosecuted under most circumstances, a pardon at this point will be used against, I think, Democrats when we're pushing to defend the Department of Justice against politicizing it, which is certainly what President Trump plans to do, or President-elect Trump.
You, Joe Biden.
You, Joe Biden? Megyn Kelly, who do you think you are? Me? What am I supposed to say now?
Did it look to you before the Hunter Biden pardon like Trump was being shy and cautious in his approach to his second administration? Did it seem to you, because the Hunter Biden thing that happened like December 1st, between November 6th and December 1st, did Donald Trump appear like he was waiting on permission to go ham on the country? Did it seem like that to you? What part of sending people that aren't even in office yet to the border to set up mass deportation, nominating Matt Gaetz, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., Pete Hegseth, and Kash Patel? What part of that told you he was waiting on permission in order to go ham on the country? Like, are you insane? They will get right on TV and tell you what a gift for Donald Trump. He's going to be using this, that, and the other thing. You think not to mention the fact, that's not going to mention the fact that you sat there. You have to approach this, right? To take that stance, you have to approach this from the standpoint that he has not himself ever been in permission to behave in such a way. We've already seen it.
And we've seen this before, by the way. Ford pardoned Nixon. Bill Clinton pardoned his brother, Roger Clinton. Oh, and Trump pardoned several of his guys who had no remorse. Usually a pardon is, okay, they've taken responsibility for it. Enough is enough. I'm going to pardon them. That's my prerogative as president. It's not the case here. They were and still are defiant, and they did what they were charged with doing. He also pardoned his daughter's father-in-law, Charles Kushner. And this was done all for the same reasons. Why did Trump do it? It worked for him. The only difference between the parties is that the right shuts its mouth when it's their own, especially in the Trump era. The Democrats don't.
We've already seen it from Trump. Like, The way in which I looked at James Comer, right? The way I looked at James Comer trying to explain to me that the only racism is reverse racism, which, by the way, that video is up. That was the first video I put up yesterday.
The Biden-Harris administration has forced DEI initiatives into nearly every agency and program within the federal government. DEI initiatives destroy morale, decrease recruitment, and potentially violate federal law. These initiatives spread divisive and exclusive ideologies in our federal government workplaces, and taxpayers are left footing the bill. For these reasons, I support the Dismantle DEI Act. H.R. 8706 aims to repeal the federal DEI programs across the federal government. This bill prohibits funding for such programs and creates a new Civil Rights Act protection against requiring individuals to participate in such programs. The bill will lend legislative support to the incoming Trump administration's efforts to eradicate the Biden-Harris administration's entrenchment of leftist DEI policies in the executive branch.
The major provision of the bill says to ban anything that acknowledges racism. And a few pages later in the exact same bill, there are multiple provisions discussing the presence of racism. This Republican approach is as predictable as it is nonsensical. On one hand, they're saying that racism does not exist. On the other hand, they are saying there is rampant reverse racism. Well, how do you reverse something that never existed in the first place? Riddle me that.
The way I looked at James Comer trying to explain to me the only racism is reverse racism, and the harm of DEI is elevated above the harms of, I don't know, like hundreds of years of Black experience in America. The way I looked at him is the exact same way I look at people who are trying to get me to trying to get me to ignore the partisanship that he has already shown, the aggression that he's already shown going into this election, and pretend like Hunter Biden is nothing other than something for him to say. If Joe Biden hadn't pardoned Hunter Biden, here's a question. What is the percentage that, let me figure out how to frame this question. So you have the amount that they're going to claim Joe Biden he politicized the justice system, and look at what he did to Hunter Biden and all that, right? So you have all that they're going to say now. Okay, so whatever level is what they're going to say now. Okay, what amount of that were they going to say? Thank you. I appreciate it, Matt. Thank you. Because I don't know. Take your time. Take your time. It's okay, baby. Thank you. I appreciate it, Matt. All right. So you have the amount that they're going to, right? That they're going to say that, right? Now, what's the amount? What percentage of that were they going to say, even if he didn't pardon Hunter Biden? Because they've been saying it, right? You have to have completely ignored MAGA for the last 4 years to not have heard them say this all the time, right? It's been one of their main deflections from accusations of Trump, is that Biden has been doing, look at what Biden is doing. So what percentage of that were they going to say anyway, whether he pardoned Hunter or not? I'd say at least, I'd say at least 95. Maybe it's an extra 5. Maybe they threw a little whipped cream on that thing because they have a new news peg. Maybe I think they threw a little 5% whipped cream on that thing because they have a new news peg. I'd say at least 95%. That's what's going to say anyway. So what are we talking about? If you're Joe Biden, right, you're like, okay, I said I wasn't going to pardon him. And so this is something that's going to go down. This is going to go down for my legacy. that I said I wasn't going to pardon them, and then I pardoned them. But that also is going to happen in a context, in a world, alongside the litany of things that Trump has said he's not going to do that he did. Also, I know it's not going to matter. I know it's not going to matter in terms of how they characterize me and how much they call me out for doing that exact thing. They're going to do that anyway. MAGA was so exuberant and went so off the chain in their aggression towards Biden politicizing the justice system. They basically made the pardon free. Ain't no, we gonna talk about it more. You talk about it as much as you could possibly talk about it. You doing what you was gonna be doing. But man, the media be wilding, man. I feel like the media be wilding, man. I seriously, I don't know. Is this what we had to look forward to? Is this what it's gonna be? Is this what it's going to be moving forward? Hey, I hope you guys had a wonderful start to your holiday. Shout out to all of our subscribers and members here on the channel, especially those who submitted possibilities and ideas for merch. You will see the results on my website, reesewaters.com. We got a ton of stuff. There's mugs there. There's t-shirts there, especially my depleted but never defeated t-shirt, which you guys really seem to enjoy. So keep sending in your ideas for possibilities at reesewaters.com. I also want to mention I was messing around on my phone and I happened to see that YouTube actually tells me who the most active members are on the channel. It's too many of you guys to name, but I wanted to give you guys a special nod, and I'll tip my cap whenever I possibly can. I've been talking to a lot of different people, and I think next year we'll probably have some new projects on the way, some special lives, some special projects specifically for the members. So be on the lookout for that. I can't wait to get started. And by the way, the link to membership is in the description box to all of my videos. So just go to a recent video and you will find the link to membership right there.